Well, hello, DePoet Dawson here. Now, listen, if you've been watching the news, then you see that there's a whole lot of things going on. I kind of shifted some gears today, and I'm going to do a different show today because we're in the world and what's happening around us. Look, we won't let the things happening infect us, but through prayer, we can affect it. Okay? So today, I'm going to present to you a poem God gave me. God gave me this poem years ago, but it is so relevant. It actually is entitled Stop the Madness. Silently, I've watched my heart heavy laden with sadness. From the top of my voice, I scream out a shout, won't you stop the madness? You stop and you stare, surprised by my shout, wondering, what is this madness I'm talking about? Well, madness is the word I think best describes. Cops on the take. You know, cops taking bribes. Now, to talk about this madness, some calls a controversy. See, it offends some, defends others, while the rest say, Lord, have mercy. Simply stated, y'all, I'm just fed up. I dare say to you, yes, some cops are corrupt. Now, that's not a news flash. I'm sure you're not surprised. It's time to look at what's going on. Injustice is in disguise. So, how do I approach this topic? Most would rather I avoid, yet tell you of this madness without you being annoyed. First, let me explain a little about this madness that I've mentioned. If records were open, you'd be surprised to see why some cops were on suspension. Suspended for criminal acts, yet some say doing their job. It's okay, some say crime does pay when it's from the thieves they rob. They laugh it off. But this madness ain't funny. Turning the thief keeps some of the money. Now, see, first, I want you to understand this. There is no doubt in my mind that all cops aren't bad. But to talk about some, it seems they all get mad. Oh, I understand the anger, but still I won't keep quiet. Because if someone don't talk up for change, there could be a riot. Oh, excuse me, there's one going on right now. So please don't sit in judgment with your self-righteous stares. Because if there were no problems, they wouldn't need internal affairs. Now see, the priest within your precinct, this should not disrupt. But I address this madness to say, yes, some cops are corrupt. Yet they brag on our justice system, say it ran by a democracy. But from my point of view, I say that it's hypocrisy. See, I'm speaking for myself, not claiming a majority. Despite the way I feel sometimes, oh, I do respect authority. But what about authority? Do they really respect our kids? Or is it guilty until they can prove innocent to what is said they did? Look, y'all, I see children on the run unarmed, yet they are gunned down. And when the cops inspect the scene and no weapon can be found, yet on paper, he fired first. The truth has been distorted, but it clears you up, this cover up. The truth you say reported. Now, another case scenario on guys you've labeled thugs. You bust them, haul them in, yet you keep the drugs. Oh, it gets me angry. I am so disgusted. Because some doing the busting need to be busted. Now, though I'm talking about corruption, y'all, I don't mean every cop. But I bring this to the forefront to say this madness has to stop. Corrupt cops work together. They rarely leave a track. Because when there's a point in question, they cover each other's back, operating in a code of silence, yet declaring, stop the violence. I'm not suggesting it's a conspiracy, but y'all look at the system. Don't look at me. We shouldn't be surprised because by this image I'm reminded, though Lady Justice holds the scales, you can't see her eyes. She's blinded. Now, you may not want to hear it, y'all, but just let the truth be told. Lady Justice really is not blind. She wears a blindfold. Now, isn't that ironic? Even justice closed her eyes. So what I see policemen do to me is no surprise. She holds the scale, sword in her hand. But her eyes are covered up, as if to say, just look away. You won't see what's corrupt. Your innocent lives have been destroyed because of a bargain to plea with threats of life imprisonment and no chance of being free. We all know that this has happened. Our justice system has failed. When an innocent man would plead guilty to lessen their time in jail. So how many more convictions without committing the crime? How many more of our young people will be cut down in their prime? Oh, I cannot ignore this and hope it'll go away. How many more will have to die before we start to pray? Prayer does make a difference. Have faith to believe. All the injustice that cops hide, God is not deceived. I encourage you to listen up, because to God all is exposed. He is a righteous judge. And when it comes to all, he knows. Y'all, the eyes of the Lord are in every place. He don't miss a thing. Videos of cops in unjust acts, God exposed their ring. See, God uses ordinary people. He'll even use their tools. God positioned the cameras to show cops breaking the rules. So if your friend or family have somehow been affected by those who swore an oath that by them they'd be protected, whether good or bad, all I have to say for all law enforcement, please commit to pray. And for those incarcerated without a criminal cause, let me say that again. And for those incarcerated without a criminal cause because of the justice system and all of its flaws, those who stand in judgment, being falsely accused, while it's by the justice system that they're being abused. Now, look, if you don't think that's possible because you don't believe cops lie, all I say is just keep on living until they have you screaming, why? Hey, glory. Y'all, see, I'm simply asking you to pray, and I will do the same. As so many suffer imprisonment where cops has just placed the blame. Now listen, I ain't crazy now. So I know that everybody ain't innocent. I know some did the crime. But for the innocent, in prayer, I'll do the time. I dare not try to number those who without a cause died by the hand of injustice, who then opened their mouths and lied. Yo, this is a serious problem within the men who police our street. Oh, but there is a righteous judge that they will all one day meet. So I'm asking you, please do not look the other way and not face this reality where honor, truth, and justice is the real fatality. Oh, I address this with conviction and truly a great sadness as I set this prayer request before you. Dear God, please stop the madness. Welcome back. Yes. That's a little bit different from what I normally bring, but let me tell you something. I'm DePoet's Dawson, writer gifted by God. So that is something God gave me, and it is so relevant. So now it's time for our segment called Two Women in the Word. But it's going to be more table talk today, because what we're going to do, we want to talk about what's going on in. We're not a prayerless nation, because even if they take prayer out of places, let me tell you something. Wherever the people of God are, oh yeah, we should be praying. Okay? So Lorraine, what's going on?
Oh my goodness. It's a lot going on, and it's heartbreaking for the simple reason that I'm thinking back of that these are the signs of the time where wrong becomes right and right becomes wrong, and where our children are afraid.
I really don't think that our children are really afraid. Now, we living in a place where they love to call wrong, right, right, wrong. But I really believe in the code of silence. I really believe that there is a general code of silence. I mean, I'm thinking back to just recently what happened here.
Right.
God had someone positioned. I mean, tell me something. Do we really think that if that guy wasn't positioned on the other side of that fence, filming everything that happened, that whether we would really know the truth? I mean, because they already had their lies down. And so it's got to be a code of silence, because there was more than one cop on the scene.
Right. And you can hear the one on the radio.
And you can thank and pray. All I do is thank and praise God for everything He has exposed. And yeah, being black in America, who can tell you what it feels like to be black in America except a black person?
That's true.
And I have daughters, but I don't want my daughters to be stopped by a cop for nothing, for absolutely nothing. Now, this isn't a show for me to bash law enforcement.
No.
This isn't a show for me to really just throw out how I personally feel. But when you see what's going on in Ferguson, okay, Ferguson is in an uproar because what's going on in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it's like a sore wound. But how many? How many before they realize that we really have a serious problem with law enforcement?
Technology, because now it's being recorded. Now it's being videotaped. Now there's no your word against mine. We have the proof is in the camera. The proof is on tape. So now because there's more ways of recording the actual event, then a lot of the truth is coming out. But it's sad to say because the good officers are suffering for what their counterparts are doing. And that's sad because right now, one time back we used to tell our children that the Mr. Officer Friendly is your friend. Now our children are afraid, literally fearing for their life, and it wasn't supposed to be that way.
Let me share something with you. Confession. I was about 10 years old. I grew up in Ackaby in North Charleston. And I was about 10 years old. And I saw a man beaten down by two cops just because his size was intimidating. Now, Mr. Birch, let me tell you, if you wanted to get a visual of what this man, the best person who I can compare him with physically is the actor who is now deceased who played in The Green Mile.
Okay, yes.
And then he even had a bald head. And I'll never forget it. I must have been about 10 years old. And my great-grandmother was on the porch screaming, "Stop, you're going to kill him." And they were just beating him with a...
Billy Club.
Yeah, I don't know what you call it, with the
Nightstick.
Yeah. And it was two cops. And he was saying, "Hey, I ain't doing nothing." They had the man in cuffs already. But guess what? We didn't have no cell phones then.
Mm-mm.
We didn't have a way to get a visual record of that. And nobody was listening to what anybody who had something to say said. So this has been going on for so long, y'all. And I believe that God is tired. Mm-hmm. And I believe that God is tired. And yeah, we look at technology, but I believe it's God who's positioning these cameras. That man didn't have no idea he was being recorded. Mm-hmm. And there are others out there. And mothers are crying, sons are dying.
Yes.
And we are, and then we're fighting it in the riot in Baltimore right now. It's like, come on now, that has to quit. Don't tap where you got to live.
Exactly.
You know, don't do that. That don't make no sense. Two wrongs will never make up right.
But when you lose hope for your situation, and I think a lot of them, it's like, what's the use? It's like they're losing hope, and we got to let them know that they can't lose hope. They can't lose hope, because when you feel hopeless, you just don't care. And I'm thinking, when back in the day, when you see a blue light behind you, your first thought, "Oh Lord, please don't let me get a ticket." Now
it's, "Lord, please let me live."
Exactly.
Please let me live.
Exactly. And it's sad because it's come to that point, and that's not, I don't believe the founding fathers had that in mind when they was writing up all of this.
And it's not all cops. It's not all cops. I've got friends in law enforcement. I've got family in law enforcement. So most certainly I'm not saying this is about all cops, but I'm saying that we have a serious problem. And let me tell you something. I look at this lady who saw her son, and she just went totally old school black mama on her boy.
She must have been kin to my
Come
mama.
on now.
Yeah,
she just, I mean, I'm serious. She went old school. She ran out there. She grabbed that boy. She was knocking him upside his head. I mean, she was getting her son. But look here. Irregardless of who say she was abusing her child, here's what she was doing. She was saving her child's life.
Yes.
She was saving her child's life. Now, here's the thing. Here's the hypocrisy of America. Now, this is what I firmly believe. If there was a problem at the home and cops responded to the scene and he did something or said something that was disrespectful and she went upside his head or she hit him or grabbed him, old girl would have been in cuffs. I honestly believe that they would have cuffed her. They would have found a place to put him. They would have said they viewed her abusing her child.
Yes.
But this is where it got twisted. They say, okay, this is the mother of the year. They're applauding her, and I do too, for getting her son out the streets. Lord have mercy. I got girls. I don't think they would be out there. But if I had boys and my son was out there, I would have gone and grabbed him by the collar.
Yes.
I can't tell you, because I got a best friend. My best friend, girlfriend named Janitha, she lives in Birmingham, Alabama. And right when they put out those laws where the kids were calling 911 on their parents, me and this chick became best friends. She was in Playline Toys. It's no longer there in the Northwest Mall. And she went to spank her child because her child went and threw one of their fitty tantrums in the store. And she went and she said, you better get up there. Start spanking the child. You better get up because you ain't going to embarrass me. So she spanked the child and I'm behind the counter saying, tear that butt up. Man, this girl, I had never seen her before. I mean, this was years ago. The kids now have kids. And I told her, and this is how we became best friends, because she was disciplining her child and was not afraid to do it in public. Whereas onlookers, let me tell you something, onlookers would even call and charge you for abuse. Look, I'm still going to do it the Bible way. I'm going to spare the rod. I'm not going to spare the rod. Really, God says, spare the rod, spoil the child. I believe what the Bible says. Now, so I believe it's hypocrisy in America and the government and the way they do things, because, see, the bottom line is, how you going to chart her as a hero, which I do, but see, I know hypocrite, because I'm going to discipline my children, and I did. I'm not ever going to talk down on somebody who disciplined. Abuse is a different thing.
Yes.
I'm not going to talk down on somebody who disciplined, but when you're going to take the discipline factor and say you can't touch that, oh, really? But she was knocking him upside the head, and you say she's a hero, really?
Wow. And I think she was really shocked. I think when I saw the interview, she said she saw the back of her son's pants, and she said she snapped because you know your children. You know how you raised your children.
Yeah.
If you see your child doing something that's out of character because they follow in the crowd, yeah.
Well, yeah. And so, you know, of course, anytime, let me tell you something. When a young man is dead and all you're trying to do is look up what he has done. So they're looking up at everybody trying to figure out what he's been involved in and what this one is doing and what
Digging
that
up his
one's
past.
done. Okay, now, her getting her son out the street, they interviewed her and her son today. He said he was a little bit embarrassed, but he realized that was his mother's love pulling them out the street.
Excellent, yes.
And that's a good thing.
Yes, it is.
But I'm talking about the hypocrisy. Because, see, let me tell you something. They want to take prayer out of everything. I'm calling on everybody to pray for this country. Pray for what's going on. Pray for the peace. Hey, glory. Because let me tell you something. They saying no justice, no peace. And let me tell you something. It's just us. I'm just saying. And yes, we want justice. And we want peace. But we got to pray for it. And see, here's the thing. They don't want prayer in public places. They don't want prayer in school. They want to take prayer out of everything. But here's the truth of the matter. Why, when a major tragedy happened, you want to call for a national day of prayer? That is so hypocritical.
And look on the back of the money. What does the back of a dollar bill say?
Child, please.
And-
They just waiting for the day when they can take that off. They,
And I know they're probably trying.
I won't be surprised that if they don't pass legislation or make a move, because they want to take God out of everything. But woe unto the nation that calls right wrong and wrong right. Hey, glory. America is in trouble, because here's the thing. Any nation that turns its back on God comes to nothing. Look, man, Lorraine, can you believe it?
Wow.
This is look, I promise you, these be the fastest 30 minutes I live.
Time flies when you're having a good time and you're enjoying what
And
you're
look
doing.
here, we got 2 minutes left. And that ain't no football 2 minutes, so I can't.
Can't
You
time
won't
out.
see me sitting before you for the next 30 minutes and, okay, it's the 2-minute warning. No, the 2-minute warning means 2 minutes. So if I don't wrap this up in 2 minutes, Derek just going to cut. We out of here.
To be continued.
Oh, really? No, but I just wanted to say something in regards to this, especially because God gave me that poem. And I had it on the podium. Y'all couldn't see the podium, but I had to read that to you today, because look, marching, protest, riots, they've been doing it since this stuff been happening and being exposed, and it yet continues. All right, let's pray.
Yes.
Let's ask God to move. Let's ask God to intervene. Let's ask God to watch over our sons and our daughters and keep them safe. Let's ask God to purge the hearts of law enforcement. Let's ask God that criminals won't hide behind a police badge and gun and get back people who they want to get at. Come on now. We're going to be prayerful.
Yes.
Look, I'm DePoet's Dawson, and I thank you so much for tuning in. You can contact me by writing me at dbdpoet@yahoo.com. Give me a call at 303-8944. Man, I had to think of my phone number. Ain't that
Wow.
something? And look, and then it's right before me. But listen, we would appreciate you being a sponsor of DePoet's Place. We come before you, and you can contact me or give me a call. I'm going to bring up some more information on the next show, because remember, my 2-minute warning was really a real 2 minutes. So at this time, me and Lorraine better say we out of here. You see, you got the
Yes.
copyright up there. Bye, y'all.
Good
Thank you for
night.
viewing.